again in my cellar. There was most of the comments from last episode were based were concerning AI art and AI writing, and I've cut and pasted a couple of them, and I've kind of summarized some of the others. That was the majority of the commentary on it this time. What is that white disc? Oh, it's the old light. Yeah, I've got a new light I'm trying out tonight. It's got some different color effects and stuff I'll play with later. Okay, let's get going. Hi there, Tim. As a parent, I often cannot tune into the Cellar. But come on, man. Cellar's on 24/7. Anyway, I appreciate it when you do. But with the holiday, I enjoyed this one very much. One positive thing you can mention about Backstories is a similar comment you have said about DMing at cons. Once in a while, you'll have a bright kid who generally wants to be at the table, but maybe doesn't know the other people well, or shy, etc. A brief backstory might be a way to get him or her into the game, or service fodder for you, the DM, and the kind of adventures they might really enjoy. Best of health, and thank you for your service. You're welcome. Here's my take on Backstories. They're fine in a long-term campaign. They're wonderful. They shouldn't come prepackaged with a level 1 character, but they're okay. In the games I run online and at the cons now, the Wheel of Blame, the backstory I give, for one thing, they have pre-gens. They're allowed to select the one they want. There's several more than the number of players, so that there's plenty of variety. And this is the backstory that I give them. And backstories are okay if you're setting up a new adventure arc in your campaign or something like that. That's fine, and I have nothing against them. In fact, I like writing them. Right now I'm writing one that's a little different than anything I've done before, and I'm having a good time doing it, wrestling with it. I've won most of the falls. But the backstory I use for the Wheel of Blame is, hi, you're either here to buff up your resume to show people that you did it, or you pissed off somebody that has forced you to do this. You've all been instructed to meet at a certain place at a certain time. You've met, you've shaken hands, you've looked around, you all know who you are, and here we go, twinkle, twinkle, and off they go. I have the anti-backstory, if you will. Doesn't matter, you're here. Because, for one thing, the Wheel of Blame is a whole lot more about thinking and being clever than it is about being lethal and killing. A whole lot more. And I've had entire episodes of the Wheel of Blame where nothing was killed the entire time, and everybody had a hell of a good time. And it was refreshing to think your way around all those problems or obstacles, or as it may develop on the wheel. I understand what you're saying, but writing a backstory is it's got to be broad enough to catch as many people as possible, and sometimes that makes it kind of bland and boring. But I understand your point, and it's well made. Once Gary was independently wealthy via TSR, did you notice any difference in his personality? Well, while I was there, he hadn't bought the big house. The wealth was still to come shortly after I left, granted, but it was not there yet. And if it had been, how would we have known? He never changed the way he dressed. He dressed comfortably. He didn't drive, ever. He never had a driver's license, so he wouldn't have come tooling up to work in a Lambo one morning, or a Corvette, or whatever. Now, it's well documented in other books that Yeah, his personality changed a great deal while he was in California. His personality changed when he was repeatedly hosed over by the company that had once been his. There's no doubt that those things wouldn't they would make a saint change their personality. At least to become an ascetic or a hermit and never have to talk again. Anyway, not while I was there, but he certainly did when they were living it up out on the West Coast. Okay, here we go. On turn-based strategy PC games in a fantasy setting and for decades past, two recommendations for you. Lords of Magic, never did play that one. Warlords 3, Dark Lords Rising. I liked the Warlords series when they came out. You're right, they're very old. They're very square looking graphics and everything. But for the time, they were great fun. Now, I did get Age of Wonders 4. An individual put an extra amount of money into the Patreon fund for the purchase of that game, and for which I have thanked that individual and do again. Having played the first three, having not played the third version for at least 2 years, it's a slog getting back into this one. I despise this common practice of no rule book. You gotta look up everything online. Gotta do it on the computer. I would like to be able to study at least some guidelines and some outlines, bullet point stuff, on how to do combat and things like that. The interface is not, in my opinion, terribly intuitive. That said, the graphics are dynamite, and it looks to be a good load of fun. Once I climb that steep learning curve. But again, it looks like it ought to be fun. Okay. Now we're going to get into the AI stuff. And a couple of these are long. Bear with me. The points are well made and they're valid points, well made. Thanks for the video, Tim. You really hit the nail on the head. What we have now is less artificial intelligence than it is computer parrot good at sorting words and pictures. The problem being all those words and pictures that it is compositing together was created by real living, breathing people at some point or another. As a librarian, it reminds me of how we have come to all talk about Google as being a great search engine, but really all Google performs is a sophisticated ranking using an equally sophisticated algorithm. It doesn't perform a search so much as it shows you a list of the most accepted results for the queries like yours at that moment. So in the same way Google didn't do any searching to return those results, it just kept track of who clicked on what and what their query was, then showed you when you had the same query. The current artificial intelligence we have now is not actually doing anything intelligently on its own volition. Rather, it's just executing an algorithmic function based on an inconceivably large data set. That's not to say we aren't at an important moment in time where adoption and use of this second level AI is going to change the way a lot of learning and work is done. Hopefully more for the better than for the worse. All right. For now, everyone posts as much stuff on the internet as possible so the large language models can ingest us. Well, that is one way to look at it. Here, eat me, absorb me. Um, I wish in the 80s and 90s we had skipped learning math without calculators. It seriously stunted all of us. In the case of writing classes in 23, have second graders publishing full-blown PDFs using AI? Why not? We live in 2023. Why pretend otherwise? Well, other than for fun, of course. Well, I'll tell you right now, I would, oh Jesus, I would not want some AI generating some piece of tripe that all of a sudden all the right-wingers swallowed. All right, if the all the extreme conservatives got a new Bible to follow, oh my God! And the way I understand it, you could instruct one of those to create a manifesto explaining or extorting or exhorting, pardon me, all that hate and bias and bigotry. You know, your own little Mein Kampf done by chatbot. That's pretty scary. Because if one of those leaked out, and like everything else nowadays, no matter how ridiculous or ludicrous it is, somebody decides it's real and gets believed, imagine what that would do. No. And I'm not sure about the question. I learned without a calculator. My son had to have a complex calculator. I don't know which of us is better off. I don't give a shit about that higher math, but I can sure, keep my books and do simple arithmetic and stuff like that. I don't know who's better off. I'm still waiting to use some of that stuff that was pounded into my head. As an indie publisher, it gets frustrating to spend thousands of dollars on freelancers and see this deluge of AI stuff come out every day. Because it takes time to do the art, I can only release things every so often, and now it's lost in the pile of AI stuff. So will I change? No. I have a lot of relationships and friends who are artists, and I won't crap on their livelihood to save a few bucks. Even outside of the questionable morality of how AI programs work, stealing art without permission, supporting my friends means something. Good on you. And I use the label that Jim Wampler created. Use the label and stick to it. I salute your stand. I will never knowingly use any AI-generated material, ever. Okay. Now, there got to be some other interesting topics, or comments, I guess it would be. One person indicated that they thought Jim should change the logo to be organic, like the food industry. That should signify that all content came from the mind of a human being rather than a trained AI model. Okay, that's fine. One of my dislikes of AI art is that art is generally intended to evoke an emotion from the observer, listener, whoever. I feel that the creator also needs to input emotion when creating such a piece. Soulless art isn't something I'm seeking. The idea that a computer synthesized it as a massive amalgam of existing art is hugely distasteful to me and disrespectful and damaging to the real artist who created the works it is lifting from. Art isn't an algorithm. Art is emotion, skill, and talent. I'm not really sure how this will be completely avoided going forward, but a warning or safe from sticker is something I'm for. Well, and then another person went on to comment that about the emotion part, and art evokes different emotions in different people, so that while the painter might, the artist might be striving for one thing, it could be legitimately interpreted as another, and art is very interpretative, or interpretive, however that's pronounced. Um, to be honest, there is some fine art, great art, um, that I go to the art gallery and I look at it and I go, meh, okay, nice brush strokes, but it doesn't. I don't believe you have to be moved by every piece of art. I can say in my years of buying art that certainly many of the people I bought from gave me moving stuff. Occasionally, I would ask for something, get something back that I wasn't moved by, used anyway, trusting that others would be, and more often than not, they were moved by it, because I didn't want to put myself on the pinnacle of being the sole art critic. And then I'd be like John Lovitz, Dharma. No, I couldn't do that. The AI art problem is going to be a problem for a while. I guess it might be interesting to see if some point in time artists or individuals submitting artwork to publishing houses or publishers have to swear or sign something, an affidavit that it is their original work from their brain through their arm to their paintbrush or their pencil or their marker or whatever instrument they use. I don't know. I'll bet that there's probably programs out there now that could write, well, perhaps short stories in the style of so and so, or in the genre of, film noir, crime dramas, whatever. It's probably out there. Let me experiment with some of this. See if it makes any difference. Oh, that did. It went off. Oh, that's the one with the colors on it. All right. No, that makes me dizzy. I don't see any difference. Ooh, pretty. I have a color organ. Oh, that one's pretty cool. That makes me pinker. Uh-oh, that makes me bright. Well, any of you who are just simply listening to this on the way to work or whatever, I just wasted a bunch of your time. Ooh, I like the one where I'm green. No, I want to be green. There. Ooh, I like that one. All right, got to put my toy away. Where was I? Oh, the AI. I don't know how it's going to be. I'm not worried about a program designing a board game, because a board game has to have an element of chance. And I don't know how you program for chance. So the intricate programming that would be required wouldn't be enough, or I'm not too worried about that. it might become a useful tool for DMs to use prompts to get bits and pieces of information, little pastiches of stuff to help them. I don't have a problem with somebody using something like that to help themselves improve. It's a fine tool as long as it's not abused and people just turn in. Well, it's the next worst thing to plagiarism when you think about it. Plagiarism, you're stealing the work of one other person. Actually, this is worse because with this, you could be stealing the work of hundreds of other people, especially with the art. Luckily for me, I'm not called upon to make any of those hard decisions. That's all I got to talk about tonight. I'll be delving back into Age of Wonders some more between now and the next one. I'll give you an update and see if I've gotten past turn 12 or 13. I haven't yet done that. I try a new race every time, so I guess I should stick to one of them. Anyway, we're hitting the summer season now. I know there's lots of regional cons going on over the next couple of months. I encourage you to look at them, go to them, at least drive by and check them out. Invest a couple of bucks if you have to get a one-day badge and support them. If at least just by showing up and kicking a few bucks into the coffer, so that they can continue to grow. And if there's nothing there that you want this year, well, most cons, local cons, particularly regional cons, are open to getting suggestions. Doesn't mean they're going to follow everyone, but they want feedback, so give it to them. I'm just doing nothing useful for the rest of summer. Yeah, that's tough. Now I'm not doing anything till IMHO, and good Lord, that's in the fall. I'll be, playing games and doing stuff, and maybe one of these days a couple of my projects will actually see the light of day. Perhaps Curse of the Weaver Queen, and maybe D20 Delving's actually they finally released the paper. It was kind of dramatic, like the old crappy movie, Release the Kraken. Oh, God, that was a horrible movie. It was it's Greek mythology, but the special effects in that, and Harry Hamlin as a curly-headed guy in a skirt, that didn't quite work. Anyway, that's all I got for tonight. You should go to Kickstarter every once in a while and just look and see what's up there. You might find something that really strikes a chord with you. I have a couple of times. Check them out. And I don't know. They'll always look at the end of the credits because I never know what Jim's going to put in. He doesn't sneak stuff in on me, but I never know when it happens. So, until then, Dodada Govi. Hello, and welcome to my cellar.
The Curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs. Still quite a feller, the Curmudgeon in the cellar. Last man around when them rates went down. Calling Gary in that Lake Geneva town. Hey Gary, it's an awful mess. Let me edit, we'll have success. D&D and Dragon Magazine. He's a curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Magic missile, it's a mortar shell. Make it hit in the first level spell. Brought psionics to the game to attack that wizard's brain. ESR and fantasy, collection of micro armory. Titan with tramp under a tree, high as could be. He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Curmudgeon.
Gallstaff, you have entered the door to the north. You are now by yourself, standing in a dark room. The pungent stench of mildew emanates from the wet dungeon walls.
Where are the Cheetos?
They're right next to you.
I cast a spell. Where's the Mountain Dew?
In the fridge, duh.
I want to cast a spell. Can I have a Mountain Dew?
Yes, you can have a Mountain Dew, just don't get it.
I can cast any of these, right? On the list?
Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room?
I want to cast Magic Missile. The room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet.
I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile.
Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here.
I'm attacking the darkness.
Fine. You attack the darkness. There's an elf in front of you.
Whoa!
That's me, right? He's wearing a brown tunic, and he has gray hair and blue eyes.
No, I don't. I have gray eyes.
Let me see that sheet.
Well, it says I have blue, but I decided I wanted gray eyes.
Whatever. Okay, you guys can talk to each other now if you want.
Hello.
Hello.
I am Gallstaff, Sorcerer of Light.
Then how come you had to cast Magic Missile?
you guys are being attacked.
Do I see that happening?
No, you're outside by the tavern.
Cool, I get drunk.
There are 7 ogres surrounding you.
How could they surround us? I had Mordenkainen's magical watchdog cast.
No, you didn't.
I'm getting drunk. Are there any girls there?
I totally did. You asked me if I wanted any equipment before this adventure, and I said no. But I need material components for all my spells, so I cast Mordenkainen's faithful watchdog.
But you never actually cast it.
Roll the dice to see if I'm getting drunk.
Yeah, you are.
Are there any girls there?
Yeah.
I did, though. I completely said when you asked me.
No, you didn't. You didn't actually say that you were casting the spell. So now there's ogres, okay?
Ogres? Man, I got an ogre slaying knife. It's got a +9 against ogres.
You're not there. You're getting drunk.
Okay, but if there's any girls there, I want to do them.